What is up, Canada? What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and in today's video, we're going to be giving you guys an update in regards to CERB and whether you need to repay it. So this has been an ongoing development that we've been covering for a while here on the YouTube channel, but a quick reminder in case you guys didn't remember, there's a bunch of confusion around some guidelines the CRA put out in regards to, entrepreneurs and the self-employed. Was it $5,000 net income or $5,000 gross income? That was really the primary concern related to this repayment. So today we're going to be covering who will no longer need to be concerned about repaying their CERB. How did we get to this point? And, have you heard about the additional tax season relief being offered to Canadians? So our lead story here is from CBC, and on Tuesday, the government of Canada announced that it would no longer seek repayment of the Canada Emergency Relief Benefit, known as CERB, from self-employed individuals who had $5,000 gross income in 2019 or during the 12-month period leading into their first claim. So what's interesting here is that what's really interesting, in my opinion here, guys, is we all knew they were eventually going to back away from this, and yet for whatever reason, they lied to themselves and to us at the start. I think if anyone's actually surprised about this announcement, you don't understand how the government or politicians work. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinions. Are you surprised by this announcement? Or are you kind of like me and yeah, I knew this was coming, just kind of curious when they were going to announce it. Again, I don't understand why they just don't hold back their decision and just make one very clear decision. This actually just adds more confusion to it, right? No, you do have to pay it back. Oh, wait, no, wait, actually, I meant sort of probably not. Again, that doesn't really add to the conversation for anyone that's already confused. So here were some comments specifically from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. For people who access CERB based on their gross income instead of net income, as long as you met the other eligibility criteria, you will not have to return the CERB payments. So here are some of the details. Self-employed individuals who made less than $5,000 net income and already began repaying the CERB will get this money back from the CRA, the Canada Revenue Agency and Services Canada. Further details exactly of how and when these funds will get back to people will be available in the coming weeks. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of confusion around that. And then finally, this news follows many months of strife among Canadians who felt misled, confused by essentially the federal government presented the CERB's eligibility requirements and subsequent repayment requests. So again, this has caused a lot of confusion for a lot of people. And now let's talk about the backstory behind it. So again, the main point here is the belief that you could collect CERB with $5,000 gross income rather than net income. For anyone that's not familiar, I know we've had a few people confused by this. Gross income, let's say that I started a business selling mugs. And so I sell these mugs for $10 each. So that is my gross income per mug is $10. However, understand it probably cost me money to make this mug. It probably cost me money to advertise this mug. I probably got all sorts of costs. So let's say those costs add up to $5 a mug. Well, in that case, $10 is my gross income, but $5 is my net income because I need to subtract my inputs from it. So that's essentially what we're talking about here when we're talking net versus gross income in regards to CERB. And so understand that when the CRA sent out what it called education letters to about 441,000 Canadians, it believed didn't meet the CERB eligibility. So this is actually a huge swath of the population. And as people began to absorb this letter, members of the media and public citizens discovered that the federal government weren't very clear about exactly what this net income eligibility requirement was. And in fact, the CRA really confused people. But initially, the CRA fought back on this confusion and said, nope, we don't care if we were confusing rules or rules, until eventually they just caved in, which happened this week. So by late December, a report surfaced about CRA customer service representatives providing the wrong information to those applying to CERB. A CRA spokesperson, Sylvia Branch, provided the following statement to CTV News at the time. The government of Canada acknowledges that communications on this topic were unclear in the first days after the CERB was launched. This includes both the CERB web pages and the information provided to call center agents. We regret this lack of consistent clarity led some self-employed individuals to mistakenly apply to CERB despite the ineligibility. By December, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tried to calm the water, saying that the government would work with Canadians who potentially had to repay up to $14,000 through the CERB program. And then in January, this uncertainty continued to linger. And then especially when the Minister of Employment, Workplace Development and Disability Inclusion, Carla Qualtrough, said CERB forgiveness wasn't on the table for those who claimed to have received misinformation. And Qualtrough's office added at the time, we haven't changed our mind on that. We have always said that we will look at the options and make a decision once we have all the necessary information. So again, that was from the Minister of Employment, Workplace Development, and Disability Inclusion. That's a mouthful. So moving on from this kind of, during this time, the federal government was pressured by, publicized petition sponsored by the Green Party MP Paul Manley. We also had, a proposed class action lawsuit on behalf of pensioners who collected the CERB. And, one has to think about the government of Canada realized its net income versus gross income error became too big to overcome. Essentially, there was just too many people impacted, and so they eventually had to walk off the line or back away, it seems like. So talking about some additional tax season relief for anyone that didn't see on Tuesday, the government relief to individuals who had a total taxable income upwards of $75,000 in 2020 and received income support from one of the following, whether that's CERB. Okay, guys, let's do a quick little test round here. How do you know your acronyms? We've got CERB, we've got CESB, we got CRB, we got CRCB, and we got CRSB. Can you guys name all those acronyms in the chat? Let me know. We got CERB, CESB, CRB, CRCB, and CRSB. So that stands for the Canada Emergency Response Benefit, the Canada Emergency Student Benefit, the Canada Recovery Benefit, the Canada Recovery Caregiver Benefit, the Canada Recovery Sickness Benefit, as well as employment insurance benefits and similar provincial emergency benefits. So explain the government of Canada, once individuals have filed their 2020 income tax and benefit return, they will not be required to pay interest on any outstanding income tax for the 2020 tax year until April 30th, 2022. This is actually massive, depending upon the exact situation. Now, obviously, it sounds like it's going to tap out or cap out at $75,000 in your income, but this is definitely something for individuals to be aware of, and maybe has big tax implications and may even impact the timing of when you decide to pay your taxes. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, your opinions, your comments. Were you surprised at the fact that the CRA and the government have backed away from the line of you have to repay if you collected CERB, even though you weren't eligible, even though they kind of confused the entire situation as well? Are you eligible for some of this interest tax relief in regards to not having to pay your taxes until April 30th, 2022? Let me know in that comment section. Really appreciate those of you watching these videos. If you get value from them, please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're new to my channel, and love it when you guys jump in the comments. So, oh my God, I can only say I know one. Oh, this is on Twitch. Cool. Okay, I had no idea why that was. Awesome. Appreciate you watching us on Twitch there. Appreciate Crystal and Ian, who are always in the comments. Again, really appreciate, guys. Will be some exciting times with the CRA for sure. And if you guys don't remember, we actually covered this in the past, and the CRA's now outsourced a lot of their questions as well. So I'm sure that this is only going to make it easier. The CRA couldn't get their story straight when we were dealing with CRA employees. I'm sure it'll be better when we're dealing with third-party contractors. So anyways, love to hear your thoughts, your opinions, as well as if you've got story suggestions for us. If you think that there's a better story that we should cover today, let us know in the comment section, because I do want this to be a two-way conversation. I appreciate those of you that give us tips or suggestions when it comes to the next story we should be covering. And we'll see you guys in a couple minutes, because we got another story coming out about fintech IPOs, and specifically one Canadian fintech IPO. Looking forward to covering it with you guys. We'll see you soon.